Welcome, guys, to your second year of CSHL. I don't think any of you needs classroom code, but just in case, it's KJAO-KGY. So you know that your assignment is to make sure that you're best prepared for your EA, which you are going to complete next school year. Essentially, what I want you to do is determine what you're going to be doing for your IA over the summer. All right. And what that means is I want you to be determining like the planning section, all right, section A. And I'll get into what section A is in just a minute. I provided several resources attached to Google Classroom to help you. First of all, there's assignment number 83, which a couple of you did. And then there's also under the internal assessment section, there are these three links: the sample IA, guidance documents, and helpful links. I strongly, strongly, strongly recommend that if you do nothing else in these resources, you watch the sample IA, watch the video, and read the paper. At least skim the paper. I know that a lot of it is not all that interesting, but it gives you an idea of what it is that you need to do. Now, I do want you to read the whole paper at some point, but just to get a flavor for what you need to do, it's sufficient to, read the first like 2-3 pages, skim the rest, come back and say, here's what I want to do. And you'll understand how both large and small this project is. You have to do a lot for it. You know that from the ESS IAs. But as far as the level of detail of the paper, you're describing all the steps that you're going to be doing anyway. So the paper, just like in ESS, it really writes itself if you're doing all of the background work. Look through the guidance documents. There's detailed info about each criterion. For the summer, I want you focused on criterion A. And then under helpful links, there's a bunch of checklists, and there's all sorts of other resources. As I said, by the end of the summer, I want you to have attempted to complete criterion A, planning. Right? And we can talk about this real quick. So there are 4 subsections to criterion A. There's the scenario. So someone you are going to serve, a client, has been identified, right? And again, that person can be an adult, that can be a student, someone you're going to write a program for that will help them. The problem requiring a solution or an unanswered question, you have to describe that. What is going to be the problem? Okay. You notice that checking these first 2, it's not all that hard as far as what you need to write, but this can be this might be the most time-consuming aspect of your entire IA, because you are having to take it down from the universe of ideas that exists down to a single idea and a single person. Okay. Word count for the scenario is approximately 250. So once you actually write it up, which you can do, 250 is like a full page double spaced. And so that means that you can walk through how you identified your client. That means that you can walk through how you arrived at this particular problem, what the client actually wants. And then you go through your initial consultation with the client, with the adult, with the student, whoever it is who needs this program to be written. You have some sort of interview. Okay, so you need some evidence of that. That could be a transcript of the interview, that can be a recording of the interview that you later turn into a transcript. It needs to be written. Documentation associated with evidence of consultation. So that can just be like, how is it that this client can end up saying, yes, I did meet with him. You need to identify what your product is going to be, what the program is going to be. This is the part where you're going to outline what your program is going to do. It is not going to be a detailed description of every single step of what your program does, but it is going to talk about the inputs and outputs. It's going to talk about how the user navigates through this particular program. how it resolves the inadequacies identified, meaning how does it actually help the user, all right? And again, it'll be about 250 words. Then, just like you did with your personal project, you are going to identify specific performance criteria or criteria for success. How will you know that your product is successful? What are you going to test it on? The more criteria that you have, the better your grade is going to be on criterion A and criterion E. If you only have 2 or 3 criteria, it's going to be very difficult for you to say, oh, I met this standard, because it's going to include far too much. You want to get little details down, right? Is the user able to click on the boxes in the program? Yes or no? And that's a really easy one to evaluate. All of those things, so don't make them vague, make them very specific, and make as many performance criteria as you can that go through every step of what you see as your project. All right, if you've done all of this, you're all good. You're all good for the summer. And I understand this can be very intimidating. If there are certain parts of this that you can't do, like you don't know how to do the transcript for this interview, you're having trouble figuring out like what does this product really need to look like? Of course, I'm here to help. All right. I'm not going anywhere, so I'm more than happy to help you. The question is going to be like, have you taken the time to really think about this, because you know that second year of DP is going to be really fast, so you need to be prepared. Again, you can message me at any time, and the earlier start, the more likely I can help you. All right, have a great summer, stay healthy, and stay safe.